Zack Wheeler's hurt. And it's not he tore something in his elbow. Oh, it's not that he pulled a hamstring. It's not that he's got a blister on his pitching hand. It's not that. The news is bad, okay? And there are people who are trying to spin it a little bit more positive. And obviously, until we know, directly from the team what the course of action is going to be, what the timeline is, we can only speculate. But this came out on Saturday. Jeff Passan put out that Phillies ace Zack Wheeler was placed on the 15-day injured list with a blood clot near his right shoulder. The timeline for his return is unclear. It's obviously about as bad of information as you could have gotten. It impacts the Phillies' best pitcher by far, one of the best pitchers in the National League, if not all of Major League Baseball, a guy that every Phillies fan knows needs to be on this team and part of the rotation for this team to have every bit of its best chance of making it to a World Series and ultimately trying to win one. It doesn't mean that the Zack Wheeler injury is a back-breaking season-ending kind of injury, but it certainly does feel like a lot of the wind came out of the collective sails of the Phillies and Phillies fans. And then it got worse because the Zack Wheeler thing is bad. And I'm not going to downplay it. It is bad. The blessing in all of this is that they caught it, right? Blood clots, scary. What if they hadn't caught the blood clot? You know what that means. You know what that could lead to. This could have been a catastrophic life event for the Zack Wheeler family. So thankfully, they caught it. That's the most important thing. We have to remove the fandom for a second and say on a human level, we're obviously very happy that the Phillies doctors or whichever doctor caught this blood clot where they did, when they did, and that hopefully they're going to be able to rectify the issue and that it's not going to be something that's ultimately going to have a much more negative outcome that a blood clot can lead to. Now, I saw, and I don't remember what the show is, and I feel bad, and if I can at some point, I'll edit it back in, but there was a show that there was a doctor who was on the day after, or maybe it was the night after, Jeff Passan's report came out about the blood clot, and it was a doctor talking about thoracic outlet syndrome, which obviously gets everybody's head kind of going, because where have we heard of thoracic outlet syndrome before? Markel Fultz. This seems a little bit different. Talked about different kinds of blood clots, different placements, how you could get those blood clots. But it seems like from everybody, right? From just about anybody who has any idea what thoracic outlet syndrome is or a blood clot in an upper extremity, in that shoulder or near the shoulder, it sounds like his season is done. Now, there are a couple of complicating factors here, right? There are people who say, well, hey, what does that mean? Like, is there a path to Zack Wheeler like taking blood thinners, right? Is there a possibility that Zack Wheeler could get himself back into the rotation before the end of the regular season or for the postseason? And it doesn't seem like it. So there's a doctor over on Twitter. This doctor puts out the idea that it's most likely season ending for Wheeler. It's a big blow. Usually requires a minimum of being placed on 3 months of blood thinners. You're not allowed to play on blood thinners in Major League Baseball. It's a legitimate issue. And unfortunately for the Phillies, it's like, I don't know how they get through this Wheeler absence and still have as legitimate of a chance to make or win a World Series. Like, if we're being fair here, and I don't want to be a Debbie Downer today, right? First time doing the show in a week. I don't want to come back and be a Debbie Downer for everybody. I don't want to be a killjoy. I want to be a Russ Joy, not a killjoy. But I have to be fair. If you remember, Wemby, and I saw him in the comments, Video Guy Amadeo drops this, Wemby had a blood clot that ended his season last year. They're too unpredictable to risk. On a human level, do you want Zack Wheeler to pitch? I don't. On a human level, I don't. I want them to take care of Zack Wheeler and make sure that he is fine. I think he's got 2 little kids, right? His wife just had their second child, I think. Like, no, I think I have more care for the Wheeler family right now and for Zack Wheeler, making sure that, he does what's best for him and his family, more so than does pitcher get back out on mound and throw ball. Now, I know that there are certainly people who would hear that and probably pitch a fit about it because people are fucking insane. But, like, in fairness, I care more about the human being and that guy's health and his family than I do about him going out and trying to help the Phillies win a World Series. Now, it does throw a wrench into a lot of things because, as we've been talking about on this show for weeks, if not months, the way that things have been setting up with this Phillies team is such that they needed a dominant rotation into October, and they needed the bats to not go totally silent, which is what has happened for the last few years in the playoffs. We knew that they were going to need a Herculean performance from the starting rotation to even keep this team in games. And yes, this lineup still does have thumpers in it. It still has a Bryce Harper who has some thump back in that bat. It has a Kyle Schwarber who's been an absolute beast. Nick Castellanos, who, oddly enough, went yard against the Nationals. You have Alec Boehm, who returned. Oh, well, let's see what he's got. I don't know that it's a ton, but we'll see. Trey Turner occasionally pops off. You just never know with this team, right? But all of that in mind, we knew that the rotation had to be as good as it can be. And it is a massive blow to lose Zack Wheeler. There's no getting around it. This isn't like losing your number 3 pitcher. It's not like losing a guy who is, a fringe guy to make the rotation. This was the anchor. This was the ace. Him being out is catastrophic to the Phillies' chances of winning a World Series. We just got breaking news about Zack Wheeler. And I'm going to go out to Anthony Sanfilippo, who just put it out over on Twitter. Let's go out to this news. This breaking news. This just came through. Sanfilippo says, the Phillies announced Zack Wheeler underwent a successful thrombosis procedure to remove the blood clot. However, no further timeline for him has been determined. So, the blood clot's out. That's great news. Blood clot gone from Zack Wheeler's shoulder area. We are very happy to hear that. We're very thankful to hear that. Said at the top of the show, Zack Wheeler's health. For himself, for his family, that is of the utmost importance. The pitching stuff doesn't matter as much. Good for Zack Wheeler. Let's hope that was the only clot. Let's hope that he gets healed up sooner than later. We're not worried about the baseball of it all. And at the same time, when can he pitch next? I'm kidding, but also, this is the only hope that the Phillies are going to have. So we kind of have to hope that it kind of works out the way that we kind of need it to, which is they kind of need him to pitch.